Move on.
That's what they had say. We've licked that calf, Billy. That's what
Not really.
used to say. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about personnel. Obviously, one of the first things I did when I came in is I met with their staff. And we're not going to make it to that. I want to meet with them on a regular basis, but I always told them that I don't want to meet more than 30 minutes, because if you have a meeting last more than 30 minutes, somebody was unprepared. We're not going to do that today, obviously. We're going to go longer than 30 minutes. But one of the things that I expressed to those folks was that there's always concern or apprehension when you have new management come in as to what I expect and what it's going to mean for them. And I've been very adamant and hope I have followed through with it to let them know that I'm not going to make any drastic changes overnight, because it would be foolish on my part until I understand how everybody works together and how things actually operate for me to make any drastic changes. But with that being said, it's also a good idea to occasionally look at yourself and see where you're at and see if things need to be tweaked somewhere to make things better. The county just spent about a year and several $1,000s to go through and do an employee study to figure out some things for themselves, and I have no intention of doing that as far as spending money. But one of the things I'd like to do as soon as we get over the budget process, and you probably won't see any results at least before January, is to look at our employees, look at our departments, look at where everybody's at, look at their job descriptions, make sure we've got the right people in the right places, and that we have given them the things that they need to do what they need to do. And basically to give them the direction that they need to do what they need to do. And at that point, I need to step out of the way and let them do what they're supposed to do. I don't need to be a micromanager for them. You have 53 employees on the payroll. You got 2 part-time folks, and you got 1 reserve officer with the police department. You're actually down about an employee and a half, I think, from where you were last year, if I'm looking on my numbers. But one of the things that I want to focus on, that I'd like the support of the board in, is to put our focus on our employees. And Joyce, you made a good comment. That's what I was leading into. We've actually got some very competent folks that do things very well. The biggest thing I have to do is make sure I give them the guidance that they need so they understand what we want. And I have not had one instance whatsoever of anything where I have given somebody some guidance on something that they haven't done exactly what I want to do, which is very, very positive for us. But I've also found that in organizations, you can buy them the finest toys in the world to play with and to work with, but if you don't treat them well, you don't respect them and they don't respect you, and you don't have that understanding, that communication back and forth, things aren't going to go well. Your employees are what makes or breaks an organization. Sure. So we as administration and you all as a board, I'd like to see our focus be on ensuring that we've got competent, qualified employees, giving them the training they need, supporting them, and allowing them to do their jobs. And I think we'll be very pleased if we follow through that process. We may not have money to buy anything, but if we treat them well, communicate with them well, put the right people in the right place that can do the right jobs, I think we'll be very satisfied with the results. So that was what I reiterated, or what I iterated to the staff, and that's what I want to make sure that you all understand. What my focus is I want competent people to do a good job, and we'll all be happy at the end of the day for that.
I have a comment. How to phrase this? Several times in different discussions, it was said when things were kind of not being maintained as well as they should, is that our maintenance people were aging and they weren't as up to being able to do some of the stuff, landscaping, outside, that kind of stuff. You would know as you look at different things. My suggestion is if you feel, and we all age, and I'm not able to do what I was able to do 5 years ago outside. If we need another employee, I would certainly be looking for somebody who has landscaping skills, who is going to come in at 20, 30 and give us a good 20-some years, that would have the backbone, have the energy level. And I don't know if it's a need. You would know as you're looking, because a lot of our people are getting a certain thing. And I would certainly like to stop the joke of having 4 or 5 people standing over the hole, looking in it.
That's generational.
Yeah, well, it's generational, but
That joke
there are
never
so
go
many,
away.
when you're going down the street and you know
Safety.
something over here is just sitting there not being done, and you go by and see people not actually doing something, you know.
We should focus on hiring competent people.
Yeah.
Age cannot be a consideration.
Well, I know it can't technically.
But you have to have a good job description that tells you exactly what these folks are supposed to do, and you have to hire people that meet that job description. So
Do we have the job descriptions that, I know Ashley's been working on
We
that.
actually have some pretty decent job descriptions.
For all that
A lot of work has been done to bring those up.
Yeah, I know she's been working on it, yeah.
But again, that's something that over a period of the next, and it's not gonna happen overnight, I'll be honest with you, it's not gonna
Right.
happen overnight. You need to give me a little time to
Well,
review
that's
that
okay,
stuff.
yeah.
and
Well, that's what I'm saying, I'm just throwing it out, but that was a concern.
But in your review process, which will be ongoing, like it has to be, you're not only looking at the performance of the individual employee, you're also looking at whether that job description utilizes the full 40 hours a week of that, or whether that a certain employee may have room on their schedule to do other.
We need to look at it honestly, and by the same token, you also need to be prepared, you may have an employee that's doing 60 hours.
You may,
a week.
it could go either way.
Yeah,
It
So
could
you
go
need to
either
be
way.
prepared to look at both sides of that equation.
sure, absolutely.
Right.
I think that's only fair. You can't expect someone to come in and, when you have that many employees, you have to have time. It takes time to know what's going on.
With that being said, unless there's any more issues on personnel,